Hello, my name's Sara. I lead the learning and development team for the consulting and the deals lines of service. I've been at PwC for just under 5 years, and before working in learning and development, I sat within our finance competency.
Yeah, I'm Abhishek Charnalia, and I'm a senior manager in product innovation and development, which is a sub-competency in operations. But my industry focus is TMT, so that's technology, media, and telecom. And normally I do consulting at any sort of product development company, so a company that develops products, mainly software products, or a combination of hardware and software products.
Hi, my name's Sara Atallah. I'm a manager in the portfolio and program management team.
So I've always had an interest in learning and development, and actually before I did the induction, I worked in the finance competency. I'd been having conversations with Kate Jagger, who used to head up the L&D team in consulting, because it was an area that I was interested in, and then an opportunity came up to tutor on the foundation induction, and I grabbed it.
I used to work for a company called PRTM Management Consultants, and we got acquired by PwC around 3 or 4 years ago. And we were starting up a sub-competency called Product Innovation and Development from scratch. And I was the FFTF champion for that sub-competency. So, in charge of looking after the relationship between the sub-comp and the FFTF community, and also to identify the right talent for our team. What I found was that we were getting lots of FFTFs in, and I didn't really know their backgrounds or what sort of training they were having in the foundation program. So I thought, well, what better way to learn than to actually go and become a tutor myself? So that's what I did. Then signed up to the program to both find out how we bring people into the firm, to see what they learn and what skills they pick up. And then try and see how best we can adjust our internal induction program within the sub-competency to complement that rather than repeat what they've already learned.
I got requested by my competency to get involved.
Oh dear.
It's only when you go in and become a tutor that you realize the kind of responsibility that you've got. Before that, in all the prep, and when you're talking to people who've done it before, you do sort of come to the conclusion, yes, it's going to be lots of fun and you're going to learn a lot, but it's only when you actually start teaching that you realize, hang on, I've got a huge responsibility over here for people who are probably in their first jobs, and definitely the first time they're trying to learn anything within PwC. So it's that sense of responsibility which really drove me.
Towards the end, when you see how much they've grown after 8 to 9 to 12 weeks essentially, so that was a really good, it's a really good affirmation of what we've done as a group, as a tutor group as well.
And then also the fact that you see them develop every week. The course is very intense. It's very rapid, and you see people developing every week, which is very, very rewarding. Also, you get weekly feedback on your performance as a tutor. So you're developing at the same rate as your students are. And I thought that it really helped me improve my consulting skills in general, even though I was an experienced consultant when I went in for the course.
All my highlights.
Yeah, all your highlights.
All my highlights. Right, well, without a doubt, it was the relationships that I built with the other tutors. Getting to know people really well from other competencies I think was really useful, and also the relationships with the 25, specifically with the kind of 25 odd foundationers that I worked with over the course of the induction was by far and away the highlight.
I think just the level of energy required to do this, it's constant, it's non-stop, so that was probably the biggest challenge.
There were a couple of challenges which I thought were very interesting and which people should be aware of when they go into this course. And the first one is that you have to think on your feet, because you're dealing with very smart people who take absolutely nothing for granted. So I was asked questions like, what is a workshop? I've never had to define that for anyone before. So you really have to start from the basics and be prepared for any sort of questions. The next challenge was actually giving feedback. Now, a lot of these graduates were top of the class in university. They were doing really well. And now when you put all of them in a room together, it's quite obvious that in our kind of grading system with the bell curve, some of them would come out on top, and there were others who were sort of in the middle of the pack, and there were others who were not doing so well. So the whole concept of not doing well or being average was very new to some of these students, and we had to deal with that very sensitively and make sure that we give them the feedback that helps them improve, but at the same time they don't get discouraged from going further in the program. So that was a very, very kind of challenging aspect for the course for me, the pastoral care that we had to provide, and being assessors at the same time.
So I think people could potentially underestimate how much energy it takes to be in a classroom kind of environment for 4 weeks on the trot. So I think my biggest challenge was managing my energy, and
I'd say I've now become much better at giving feedback. That was sort of something which I really learned on the course. I've also become much better at workshop facilitation, for example, because when you have to go in there day after day and train people and answer questions, you just naturally become very comfortable in a workshop setting or in a public speaking setting. So I'd say it's definitely helped me a lot in my consulting career after that.
I've become a lot more patient. I know a lot more about the organization, and yeah, I guess that's the key things. Yeah.
So I think the really key thing was that it helped me to reconnect with what it fundamentally means, or what's fundamentally important about being a consultant. So that for me was the biggest development area.
I'd say make the most of the experience of the tutor cohort that you have, and Michael Storia, who's the course director. Try and identify the 1 or 2 areas that you feel you want to improve on as a person or as a consultant, and then don't be afraid of asking for feedback on your performance from your fellow tutors as well as from Michael. In my case, there were a couple of areas, like I've mentioned, like workshop facilitation and giving feedback, difficult feedback to people, where I did take the time to sort of learn some of the tricks of the trade from my fellow tutors and Michael, and it really helped me. So I'd say, make the most of that experience, because you're going to be a very tightly knit group for 8 to 12 weeks, however long the course is, and you develop great friendships and relationships with your fellow tutors and Michael. So make the most of that and work on your areas of improvement with it.
Definitely be yourself, because that's the most important thing when you're doing this. You have to be yourself all the way through.
My top tip would be just go ahead and do it. Throw yourself into it. It is undoubtedly the best thing that I ever did in my career.